Brothers Keepers is a vital podcast fostering brotherhood and open dialogue for Black men and boys. It tackles crucial topics like mental health, fatherhood, and criminal justice disparities, offering actionable insights. Discover how this impactful podcast inspires resilience and community upliftment, continuing a powerful legacy.
Hello, everyone, and thank you again for watching us tonight. My brother's keeper. I'm here with my brother Dante. Appreciate you, man, once again. We have a very hot topic. A topic that a lot of people have been waiting on, probably since about week 3, 4. And I know a couple people have been in my ear about it. And I know they're watching, probably smiling and laughing right now. But we're going to get into this topic, and we're going to go into it a little bit and see, the perspective that some of you may not fully understand. Some may even have criticized in the past. But once you get understanding about things, you're no longer ignorant about it, and you can kind of see as you begin to study a little bit more how these things work or how still it may not be for you. But we're going to go right into it. Our topic, as you can see, polygamy versus monogamy. We're going to put it to the test today with our brother here with some of the stories he's going to give us starting off, and we'll break it down for you. Thank you for joining.
And also for the ones that didn't catch us, if you got questions that's more in depth, we are considering doing a part 2. So feel free to chime in and ask questions if you're watching and didn't catch the other part. We will push a part 2 if need to. It's depending on the viewers in the comments. So once again, we appreciate y'all for viewing. Even since episode 1, we thank y'all. We appreciate y'all as well. So the way we're going to start this is I want to give a story and details of how we get to the position in my head of how I developed to this understanding of where I'm at. So no names will be mentioned, states and cities, because most people kind of familiar that, I probably brought up Alabama and stuff like that. So we will talk about the names of the cities and areas. So with that being said, I grew up in Enterprise, Alabama. And I've always hung out mostly older people, which was my older cousin and his friends. And we always used to go hang out, go out of town a lot. I never was an indoor type of kid. I was always outside all the time. So we normally always hit the mall in Dothan, Alabama. And one of the visits that we had there came across a young lady, we're going to call her Lady A. And she caught my attention. We walked by her. My cousin noticed that she definitely caught my attention. So, he's very outgoing, very blunt, and very, straight to the point type of guy. He went over there with her and her friends, and it was like, hey, my cousin's interested in one of y'all, and he looked at me, and I said I had to step up to the plate. Luckily, she was beside me. So, with that being said, I grabbed her hand and said, hey, can I get a moment of time? We talked, we exchanged numbers, and I told her, hey, I'm about to go out of town, which was headed to Panama City, and when I get back, I get with her. So we come back from Panama City, we go back to Dothan again, where we enter the mall again. And at that moment, we walking by the area, peeping the scene. And honestly, I had no intentions of even meeting somebody. They kind of was doing their own thing in that moment. I was just tagging along, and a lady caught my eye, and the first time we walked by, I wasn't even going. I was like, I'm good. And we walked by again, and she called my eye again. She looked, I looked, we looked again, and I'm like, hey. So my cousin caught it. Said, hey, so he did his thing again. We went back over there, and I stepped to her, talked to her, got her number, and we normally did something that we didn't normally do was we went to this game area, but neither one of us was really big on gaming. So I really, to this day, I still don't know why we went over there, because we didn't even stay over there. We went over there, we peeped the scene, and as we walked out, I saw Lady B, she's sitting, eating, talking to her friends, and then I see Lady A walking that direction, and my cousin kind of like, hey, he's looking. I wasn't looking. He was like really looking. I'm like, why? What you looking at? And I bumped and showed him like, hey, he was like, watch. So we were watching, and he was like, hold on, I think they know each other. And I'm like, nah, they don't know each other. And then the closer they get, I'm like, yeah, I think they know each other. Yeah, I think they know each other. And so, out of the whole group, those two hug each other. And I'm like, oh no, they know each other. So we end up, getting out there with any of them recognizing, that we was around at that time. They was all together. But I wasn't really ashamed if, they called me or not. But my cousin, he was like, nah, like, we need to get up out of here. So, I talked to them throughout the weeks, and we talked, and I started noticing that both of them was very, they was asking similar questions, and it kind of caught my attention because I'm like, I think they're talking about me because the questions was very similar. And so, I answered them, with no discretion and things like that. And one thing I liked about both of them were they were never loud. They both talked very, as a lady. And I really appreciate that. And that's one thing I really enjoyed about both of them. How they carry themselves, I met their parents, everything, their whole family. And they really carried themselves well. And but it was both different in a bunch of ways as well. And that's what I also liked. They was very different, but in a very good way. They both brought something different out of me that I truly respected and I admire. And what's so crazy is both of them didn't go to my school. So when I was at my school, I wasn't paying nobody attention because they really had impressed me that much in a different way. And so it got to a point where I just bluntly asked, like, Lady A, I was like, so and so, Lady B, she smiled. I could tell she smiled because I know how she smiled and she talked. So she was like, yes, and I'm like, okay. So I like, so what you think? And she was like, I don't really think anything. If you know her, you know her. And so I'm like, so you ain't got a problem with that? She was like, she was like, well, I'm like, we haven't decided what you want yet, so I can't make you do this or make you do that. You have to, figure out what is it you want, and things like that. And I respected that because she wasn't trying to be jealous. She wasn't territorial. She wasn't none of that. She was just very cool. She was just there to really get to know me, you know what I'm saying, and see was I was going to be honest and tell her what it was, and I did. And so, at that point, I'm like, man, I might as well call the other one and tell her too. You know what I'm saying? So, I called her and I let her know. So I was like, hey, I met Lady A, so and so and so. And she was like, yeah, I know. She's like, she's the one. She's like, so yeah, I know. I taught her. She was like, matter of fact, I taught her the next day, and I was like, I met this guy at the mall, this and that. And I was like, okay. So I was like, so that's when I'm like, was y'all was gonna tell me? And she was like, no, we just gonna see if you're gonna tell us. And I was like, I was gonna tell you. But I was like, my cousin told me not to tell y'all, but I was gonna tell you. So they was like, oh, okay. They was like, yeah, I believe he, because they know how, at that time they knew my cousin very well and they know how he is. So they was like, yeah, I can believe that. So I kept it going for a while, getting to know, talking to both of them, getting to know both of them. And what really made me had to really pick was like my older male cousin and my younger female cousin, which is a sister. We all was like these were brothers and sisters. They come say, hey, you gotta pick, you gotta make a decision, You can't keep doing this, you can't keep doing this. And so I did. I at the point I ended up picking Lady A. And we made it a thing, we made it serious. But the thing was like I never really cut ties away from Lady B. And it wasn't only like we were going on hanging out and kicking it, but I still talked to her. And anytime I was in Dothan, I always swung by her job, and she used to always give me free food every time I went to a job, because she worked at McAllister, the deli place. So I was like, every time I went there, they used to hook me up every time. And even the people I brought with me, she would hook them up too. So like she met my stepdad, she met a couple of my close friends from high school and things like that. So even though I was in a relationship with this lady B also got to know the people around me as well. And even my stepdad was like, man, like she's beautiful. I was like, yeah. He was like, you have it? Yeah, you picked up. He was like, man, she cute too, but he was like, man, I wouldn't decide nothing. I was like, I know, pressure. So I was getting ready to head to Birmingham. And that night, that's my stepdad took me to go see her in Dothan before I left to Birmingham. And we had said our goodbyes and things like that. And one thing she told me that to this day it stuck to me. She told me I didn't even have to pick. She said if I was just stuck with what I was doing, being me, I didn't have to pick. And so I talked to my ex lady, A, a couple of years after that. She said the same thing. She was like, "Nah, you really got to pick." Cause she was like, I didn't, I didn't feel threatened. Um, I wasn't jealous. It was never mean. It was honest. There was no confusion. She was like, "Hey, we neither one of them saw where it was an issue or it made their life any inconvenient." Versus like all the other dudes they actually dated, they gave them headaches. And it was like they had no problems. So that was like I didn't have to pick. And man, my heart dropped. Because I never had to make. I didn't have to make that decision like that. I could have just continued being me. And so, with that being said, I'm gonna turn it over to my brother. But that moment was the moment in my life when I realized, hey, there's other ways to actually love and be with somebody, because you ain't gotta just be with one person, but you can actually love more than one person. Because to be honest with y'all, Lady A had the same love that my mother had, and Lady B had the same love that my grandmother gave me. And when I was growing up with my mother and my grandmother, I loved them for them, but I also loved their soul. And when I met these ladies, I saw that in both of them, to where it was nothing about the flesh. I loved them internally for who they were, and they reciprocated and gave me that with no judgment. But yeah, but go ahead.
I'm just gonna say this. I know that first of all, the cultures that the society that we're raised in, our people are used to, of course, the monogamy side, and I look at it from the standpoint of just like religious beliefs. These things were taught to us, but when you look at the root of it, I think we need to peel back. When we peel back at the roots of the religious beliefs, a lot of these things, Christianity itself was forced on us in a way it was. Not the same type of Christianity that was in Northeast Africa. When it comes to relationship, you look at the roots again. Our people came here as slaves and immediately began to outnumber the Europeans by a long shot. What they didn't know is how we produce and we reproduce, rather. And why is that? It's because in the ways of having more than one wife from a polygamy standpoint. The cultures in which it came out of Africa, this is what it was,
Right.
Just like you were forced to believe what you believe was the Bible, and you can't fathom going outside of that right now when we come and teach the things that we teach from the Hebrew perspective.
Right.
They can't understand that. The same thing when it comes to the polygamy side of it, they can't understand that because they have been shaped in a way of thinking.
Correct.
When you really get into your book, for the modern woman of the day, if you really get into your Bible, number one, you would think the Bible will be totally against you.
Correct.
Because everything it says from day one, you ought to be behind your husband. You have a sign of authority over your head. Husband is the leader. He's the covering. Is Christ. You're the Messiah, the Spirit, the husband, the wife, and the child. And with how today's society promotes the specifically the black woman, they want to jump ahead, the man. Even when you speak of polygamy, you have it now to where they think that they can do polygamy, to where they can have two men,
Right.
knowing that their bodies are not even structured, properly for that.
Not at all.
Yet they'll try to do it because society has somehow shaped them to think that they can do these things in that manner.
Correct.
Biblically, we had both monogamy and polygamy. And the Most High honored it either way. I have nothing against neither one of the sides. I think it just comes down to what fits that person.
Correct.
Or what fits that woman. And you should, and as a man, you should go to the woman and have these discussions.
Correct.
There shouldn't be anything hid. You should be open about it to where there is no problems.
Correct.
And I kind of prefer to where you let these individuals meet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
To where they can have their discussion, talks, or whatever. But unfortunately, we have a lot of men that don't want to be open about it, and would do the opposite,
Correct.
and cause great problems on down the road. And it comes in the form of what the world has labeled and called as cheating, all these type of things. But when you're open about it, you're discussing it, doing things the right way, it's actually helped to both sides. There's benefits actually for the woman herself when she's having that type of relationship with a man, is, from the standpoint of just being enhanced in a way from the other woman. They should support each other.
Mm-hmm.
There shouldn't be nothing conniving going on, nothing backbiting going on, none of that type of stuff happening to where someone feels they're being taken advantage of by the other person.
Correct.
Those things should happen. The advantage is also to continue lineage of the man as well. It's an excellent way to preserve the lineage of the man, and we don't look at those things, those jewels that help with polygamy to keep things going. Finances strong, all that kind of stuff. But let's face it, the woman has to get out of that selfishness.
Correct.
If she's selfish, it's not going to work.
Correct.
It's not going to work. You might as well stay in monogamy. You might as well don't even look in the way of polygamy. If that woman desires for herself to have her husband by herself, she has every right to have that. She has every right to have that. But we need to understand clearly what polygamy is and what monogamy is. If a woman cannot see past her ways of not being selfish in a way just for her husband, she need not look, or that husband need not look toward a polygamy himself, right? Because there's always going to be a problem. There's always going to be a problem.
I want to. He touched so many points I want to touch. I'm gonna touch the last one you just said about the selfishness. Sometimes, to be honest with you, I want to add fear, trauma, lack of the sense of understanding that there's more to life than what you have seen. Some people are so tunnel vision to what they know that realistically what they know is literally the very definition of what they don't want to know about. And I'll give y'all a perfect example. A lot of ladies want to say they don't want to practice this lifestyle, but when you look at the social terminology of this word, a lot of y'all are living this lifestyle because a lot of women have kids with other men and then you date another man or you married to another man. You have a multi-structured family. Because if you have a kid with man A, and then you say you're single and you want to date, you're not single, honestly. You're still attached to that man with the union that you made with this child. So you have a family here. No matter how separated you want to spread yourself away, you're not ever going to separate yourself from that. Because from the day you're alive to the day you die, that child is always going to be a representation of the union that y'all two have made and forever and forever. So understand, that ain't never going nowhere. But once you go and you make another family tree with another person, guess what? You have two family trees. Mm-hmm. That's no longer monogamy. True monogamy is a person with no kids and this person with no kids. And these two people get together and they make their own family tree. And there's only one tree. There's not two trees, they're not three trees, they're not different branches there. No, there's one tree here, and that two people make it. That is monogamy to the most truest form. So we gotta accept that fact that if you are a lady, I don't care if your kids are 5, I don't care if your kids are 30. When you enter another situation with another person and y'all also union and you bond spiritually and connect spiritually, you have already laid your body and connected and bonded with another person. You have spreaded yourself, spiritual and all, with another person. The bond is split. That's one reason why a woman can't have multiple husbands, because she split herself in half, mentally, physically, spiritually. You can't. Who's she's leading? Who's leading her? Is she leading them? Because if she's leading them, then they're not men. Mm-hmm. There is no leadership if a woman is in charge of 2 men telling 2 men how things are supposed to be. There's no true leadership. There's no proper structure there. So we have to recognize the different way of how we're going to accept it. You can't say, I don't like this lifestyle when you have created this lifestyle already for yourself. And then you get with a man that don't have kids. You are literally at that moment, you have forced that whole poly lifestyle already on him. Because that man has to be involved with you, another family that he is not entitled to. So we gotta accept this. It's not a one-way thing. Because one thing I always tell people, like, hey, what would you rather be? Would you rather be a second wife, or would you be a girlfriend for 3 or 4 years? That's a tricky question, ain't it? But I make it easy on you. That second wife got more leverage than that girlfriend with that guy that she been with for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, sure does.
Because guess what? Biblically, girlfriend ain't even in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Look at the Bible. Find the word girlfriend in the Bible. You could be a friend, but you can't be no girlfriend or no boyfriend. That ain't even in the Bible, so you don't even count. Them 3 years you with that man, you just wasted that don't even count in the Most High eyes.
That's right, wasting time.
That second wife, I bet you she will. She got leverage spiritually, economically, and parenting wise. She have say in all those areas. Because if that man dies, she gonna have something. Her kids gonna have structure. Everything's gonna be in place. Girlfriend, that's a toss-up. You better just pray and hope that he set something up. Don't guarantee it, because if that man got family, they gonna fight for it. Mm-hmm. So we got to accept the truth, not what we feel, but the truth of how things are connected. I tell a lot of people, I got a best friend. He in a monogamous relationship, and I'm happy for him, and it works for them. You know what I'm saying? Me and him live a totally different lifestyle, but me and him actually can have a healthy conversation about relationships. You know what I'm saying? He actually gives me good advice. I give him good advice, and it works. You know what I'm saying? Because we respect each other's position. I respect his position because he lives a true monogamous relationship. She ain't got kids out of wedlock. He ain't got kids out of wedlock. They got together. They got their own family together. And I respect it to the fullest. I would never tell him, hey, man, do what I do. No. He has his own path. I have my own path. But you have to work. You gotta be able to understand what works for you but you also got to understand what you're in. You got to understand what you're in. You know, you can't. I'm not gonna be in a car. You tell me it's a truck. No, this is a car. You know what I'm saying? It's not a truck.
Right.
You know, so let's be honest of what it is. You're not fit to flip it on me.
Right.
Another thing we gotta get a clarity of is with qualifications, and this is for my fellas, my brothers. One thing I always tell my brothers is, you know, you got to be able to qualify to have that situation. You know, you got to be able to qualify. And what I mean by that is establish something solid with your first lady first. Be proven. Establish a good chemistry, longevity, a stability in every way before you try to add on. Because for me, I feel like you need to have a strong foundation at first. You never want to bring anybody else into your covenant when it's rocky. That's the worst thing to do. You want to be able to bring somebody else in with stability. Because I never will want to walk in a house that is about to fall on top of me at any given moment. I'm not moving into that house. I want to move into a brick house that I know is solid, is comfortable, is stable, and I'll be able to live in it for a long time. And that's how, fellas, you have to create that safety net when you're talking about you want these things. You got to have stability. You got to have, you know what I'm saying? It's got to be proven. You got to have the achievements and the rewards to say, hey, I'm the guy you could trust me with that. Another thing, a leader has to have requirements. You have to create protocols and policies of how this works. You know, you got to establish, hey, how does this person fit what I'm doing? How does this person fit what my lady's doing? How do they work well together? Will they be able to work together? Will they be able to know how to, you know, raise kids properly? Are they going to clash? You know what I'm saying? Are both of them going to be able to work when you're not around? You know what I'm saying? Like, these things are very important as leadership to establish what everybody's weaknesses, their strengths, be able to make sure that he established you want to have meetings with both of them together and separately to gain more of a transparent relationship dynamic. You never want to make one feel less than the other. If you got them and then you're working as a team, you fully utilize them as a team, not separately, but together. A fist is only good when you have all your fingers. You cut one of these fingers, it feel the balance is off. You know, just like your feet. You know, you cut your pinky toe, you're off balance. You have to work as a whole, not as separate entities of anything. As well as the lead. The lead got to also set protocols with himself. He has to have some self-discipline with himself on how he moves. And in these kind of situations, you almost got to move flawless. Because when you're dealing with multiple women, you're dealing with multiple women with emotions. So as a man, you rarely can go off your rocker and lose your cool. Now, don't get me wrong. It's gonna be times where you do need to be vulnerable, relax, release, so your women can be there nurturing and be there for you. But when they're going through their stuff and their emotions, and 9 times out of 10, when most women are together a long period of time, their emotions kind of get in synced. So majority of the times, you're going to deal with their emotions at the exact same time. And it's going to be up for you to be that rock. You can never lose your cool. You can't play the blame game. You got to take whatever they give you at that moment. And you got to take it like a champ. And you still got to you gotta stay grounded. Another thing I want to say is your additional needs to add, not subtract. And what I mean by adding and not subtracting, what I'm saying is, people, if you're going to bring somebody in, that person needs to be able to add to what you're doing. Nobody should never come into a situation and just subtract everything and suck everything away from what you got going on. As well as a man, if I'm going to add somebody, I'm not going to take away from what I'm giving the first lady. I'm not fit to subtract that. Whatever I've got going on with here, it's going to still be the same. That's why time management, I always feel like a man that's in leadership, you got to be a master of time management. You got to be able to understand how time works. You got to understand how not to waste time. And you got to really understand how to delegate things to maximize the time that you have. That's why it's important if you're going to be with women, you have meetings to know how to delegate responsibilities and roles. And they also got to understand how to delegate responsibility and roles with the kids. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, you're only one person, you can't do everything. And that's one of the biggest benefits if you do it the right way. If you're trying to be in this type of life, you have to understand that if you do it right, you will gain more time to benefit to do more productive things. If everybody's doing what they need to do, you're gaining more. Society, this world is designed right now, and I hate to say it, if you're trying to do monogamy in this society, as things are doing this, you better already be a millionaire. You already better be a millionaire if you want to play the two people game. Otherwise, both people in the household better have two jobs. If everybody in the house got two jobs, guess what? You ain't spending no time with no kids. Your kids is losing. They're not going to get the quality time for no parent if everybody's at work. And some people are willing to do that. Some willing to bet all on their kids and say, you know what? I ain't going to do that. I'm going to put my pride up. I ain't going to do that. I'm letting the kids suffer. Because that's what you're doing. When you say, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and do all these three jobs. I don't want to do that. Even though you know this may benefit your kids to where, guess what? Mommy get to take the kids to school every day. Mommy get to homeschool if she wants to. Mommy gets to do all the things they want to do with their kids to benefit the kids, because at the end of the day, ain't that why we have kids? To help them, to be there for them, to give them the best. You ain't giving your kids the best if the kids can't see you. So those are a lot of things that I had to put in perspective when I was gaining more understanding to these things. Before I get to my next section, I'm gonna pass it to my brother and see what he think about when it comes to qualifications with that lifestyle versus like the monogamy lifestyle. What are the qualifications? Are the qualifications different? Or are they the same? Like, what do you think when it comes to qualifications?
I think they have some of the same points, but there may be some extras, that may need to be considered as well. We already know what monogamy requires. Pretty much we've been told from a moral standpoint how things need to be done and how we do with one another. But things like trust, they can be stretched farther. Trusting that you will know how to guide the situation and do what needs to be done. Goes back to the balance. If there's an offset imbalance, it can cause problems from a polygamy standpoint. A lot of times when we're dealing with a matter of such, you may have, again, it boils down to what a woman desires in that whole format. If you're dealing with a selfish person, then it's not going to work. It's not going to work. There's no conformity in that way to where you can get around that. It can cause a man great hardships. And I remember listening to a couple once, older than I am. Both of them, matter of fact, were doctors. And two of them were doctors. And I think one was a teacher. And one thing they said that, of course, caught my eye is that, and they all agreed on, the two women, is that you can't stress the man out. You stress him out, he will die. He will not live long.
Correct.
And I think a lot of guys will get in this thing thinking they can just go and do whatever, run. And if you look at it for the areas of just things like sex, you're wrong. Number one, for that reason, you're wrong. Because that can kill you more than anything.
Oh yeah.
You know, you're not even treating your own body right, you know, as a man.
Not at all.
And that's not dealing with just the stress that you're dealing with to make sure that you're meeting the standard of both of those women, period. Those things can take toll on you physically, mentally, and spiritually. And that's why they were saying that if they're not doing things right by stressing you out, you're not going to live long.
Correct.
Man should already know by how he's feeling, if he's feeling in any way stressed out or poor to a point that he's not going to live long.
That's true.
He should already know that.
That's true.
So honestly, I think when guys are out here doing things that they're doing in a monogamous relationship, which we'll call cheating or whatever you want to call it, that in due time will stress you out.
Yeah.
That in due time will stress you out. I don't care if you have no morals. In time, it's breaking your body down. That's why you see some of them that you see now, they look so rough.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you can see it.
Yeah.
You can see
they look
it.
so rough.
You can see it.
And they're not able to maintain themselves 40, 50, 60 years old, still doing this crazy stuff, and don't know that they're on the brink of a heart attack and stroke.
Agreed.
Because they're still doing things the wrong way. And when you could have just had the conversation, you know what I mean? Possibly, you know, with your person, and got some things straightened out. But we don't want to do things right. You know, that's the problem. We don't want to do things right. But again, going back to those qualifications, that word trust is going to be really stretched. And I mean stretched in a good way. That you're going to trust the person to make sure they're doing things the right way, getting things done. And you got to make sure that those women understand that, and make sure there's no hidden agendas, you know, things like that. So I'm just going to leave it just in that area of trust. That's what I'm going to leave it there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you 1,000%. When a man does that so many times, like it's your spirit is splitting.
Mm-hmm.
It's splitting. So you're losing pieces of yourself every time. You know, that's why, like, I don't know if you know it's with your situation, but for mine, like, the more I lay with my wife, we slowly look alike. we act alike, you know what I'm saying? Like, we be doing stuff. So I even know, I know, like, you know what I'm saying, if something's up, or, you know what I'm saying, or let me go in the kitchen and cook or something, or, you know what I'm saying, like, and sometimes it's like without saying, you know what I'm saying, like, sometimes I'd be like, so I do stuff that I don't even think about doing, like, I'd be like, we have apps on our phones where I can check to see, like, the amount of gas in the cars or whatever. So, you know, one day I was like, let me check the car. I check the car, you know, she'll low on gas. All right, let me go get us some gas. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like you be so connected to that person. And it's because the more you lay with a person, you're giving parts of you to that person every single time.
That's right.
Every single time. So that's why I say, like, when we talk about this whole, you know, I want to be monogamy, but you have created lives with other people, you gotta understand that person have a part of you forever. Forever. It is never going. You. There's no such thing as, hey, I'm gonna be born again. I can just watch all that. No, whoever you attach yourself to, they're there forever. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? You can't change that. You know, I can't get rid of all these scars that I got when I was a kid. You know what I'm saying? I got a bird right now. I got when I was 4 years old because I touched the stove, and I ain't gonna never forget that touch. It's there. I can't get rid of that. It's gonna be there forever. Even if I put a bandage over it, it's still there. You know what I'm saying? So we have to realize and and just accept the truths of how things are instead of we try to rephrase it or rewrap it.
Yeah, that's what
you know what I'm saying?
And that's what most people do.
You know, you
rewrap
things. Yeah, like co-parenting. What is co-parenting? What does that even mean? I know what a co-pilot is. I know what a co-worker is. What's a co-parent? You know what I'm saying? I know what a parent is. how you become a co-parent? Well, based off of the world new generation, okay, if we separate and you live in that house and I live in that house, we're co-parenting. I could be married to my wife and buy me a new house and just stay over there and she stay over there. They still my kids. I still gotta pay for them. I'm pretty sure I still gotta pay for them. How does this become a co-parenting thing? You know what on the slide what that means? Co-parenting on the slide means we became equal. We ain't equal. Even if I ain't in the house, we still ain't equal. I still got the final say when it comes to how our kids need to move in this world when they little. Because at the end of the day, if they in danger, she's gonna call me. So we gotta understand, like, this world is changing and flipping all these different terminologies and words around, and like I've been not ever hear nobody talking about, hey, we doing a good job co-parenting. I'm looking at you crazy. I'm like, what does that even mean?
Where that come from though?
Yeah, I know.
I know where it comes from. It comes from them certain people.
Yeah.
You know, that make it up.
Yeah, because
black folk jump right on it.
Yeah, right on it.
And follow everything they say.
Co-parenting. Man, I wish somebody would talk about co-parent my kids.
I mean, black folk are losing so much in so many ways.
Yeah.
Culturally, because they take on everything that some other people are saying, and they want to make it fit for them.
Yeah.
You know, and it's almost sickening because you're losing culture.
Yeah.
You're losing culture. This is why you don't understand monogamy and polygamy.
Right.
A lot of people in monogamy don't even understand it.
Correct.
They don't even understand it. Been doing it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But don't understand
it.
But really been doing, like you said, polygamy.
A lot of them.
You know, but have so much to say about polygamy. But you've been doing polygamy for probably about 20, 30 years of your life.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, unless you're fortunate, I know mine, I've done that, but the thing is, most people have done that.
Yeah.
And don't even know.
Yeah.
And have created a mindset against it, and yet you've been practicing it. You have what you call mini trees.
Yeah, that's it. You have mini trees. They're still trees. They're not attached to this tree that you created before you got with that person. You already started a whole family here. You have a family, and there's no co-parenting in that. You have a whole family. You know what I'm saying? So we got to understand that when we try to change things around like this, it hurts the kids. It hurts the kids because that's why these kids nowadays, they so lost. They so lost and confused. They don't know what's going on at all. And I'm gonna tell you something. Like, my kids respect me more because I keep it so honest with them about everything. I never shied away from, what I believe in with my kids. And you know what I'm saying? You know the $1 million question people always ask me, So what if your daughter got in that situation? And I don't think you understand me. I'm fair. I tell my kid, I tell my son, just like I tell my daughter, the same thing. If you find a man that loves you, that take care of you, and this is what he believes in, and he's proven, and I see he's a proven man, I stamp the approval. Enough said.
Yep, that's right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, trust me, my kids know my thought processes on all that, and I treat it fairly. You know what I'm saying? Even when it comes to like my oldest daughter, like I even have her around to where she actually judged the character of the woman and say, hey, is she a good woman or she not? And guess what? One time she said, hey, no, that lady, no, that's a no. And I took her word for it. And guess what? I had one last conversation with that lady the next day, and it was a goodbye. Because I trust my foundation. Because like I tell y'all, if you don't have a firm foundation and it's rocky, your decision making is going to be rocky. But if you have a firm foundation, you can make firm decisions and you can stand on it. So when I, you know what I'm saying, when I asked, you know, my oldest about this person, she said, hey, you know, nah, this is a no-go. Say less, you know. It was a go. Bye. You know what I'm saying? Like, because she explained it to me in a mature way to where I understood what she was saying. And it made sense to me, you know. And when you do that kind of stuff, you know, it brought us closer to where she tell me everything I need to know from her. I never have to force information out of her. She always come to me as a lady and let me know what's going on in her head, good, bad, or ugly. And that's what I want from her, is to give me the good and bad and ugly. But she does that willingly because I gave it to her. You know what I'm saying? And that's why it's sad why so many kids nowadays, they don't tell their parents nothing. You know, they hide everything. They hide what they're doing. Your kids got a whole life that you don't know nothing about because they see the fake in you because you're not telling them everything. You sugarcoating it. You know what I'm saying? You're making it look all pretty. But your kids know the reality of the world. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't show them that your life is reality, they gonna give you the same thing you give them. They're gonna give it to you.
Yeah, real quick, I got a question. I know we said we'll wait, but
go ahead.
This question in. Someone sent this right here. They said we addressed the situation with someone having kids with a person. What about when you bring a person into a family and you don't have kids together? What about that? I want to make sure I read that right. Let me see. Let me put my spectacles on.
Okay, go ahead.
It says we're addressing polygamy from the standpoint of having kids with the other person. Basically. With the other person, what about you bring another person into a family,
correct,
and you don't have kids together?
Correct.
What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, that's the best. That's the best situation. Yeah, like that's nothing wrong with that. That's the best situation. Yeah. Because once again, you're teaching this lady what a healthy relationship and what a healthy family looks like. She has a woman there that can teach her how to love the man that woman's already been with. She understands how to love that man. A lot of women already get with men in relationships now and don't know what that man needs. But what if you had somebody that already can give you the cheat code of what that man needs, and she show you how to love that man? How much do you really love that man to be willing to learn that? Because that's why a lot of people divorce. Because everybody in that marriage ain't getting what they really need out of the marriage. That's why a lot of people don't last.
That's right. They divorce because they're not.
A lack of need.
Yeah, satisfied.
Right. So that is a great situation because once again, you put that person in a position to learn from somebody, watch how they operate. So when she have a kid, she understands how to raise her kid. She knows how to be a wife. She can get guidance. She can get direction. You have the proven blueprint right there. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead. Appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
Unknown person popped out the blue. They didn't want to put it on Facebook. They wanted to inbox it. So
okay,
yeah.
You want to ask questions?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm scared.
Okay, I got you. All right, so when it comes to like customs, and what I mean by customs, like when it like pretty much literally what her question was, like a healthy sisterhood is established. Like I said, cooking together, learning new meals, especially if like one person's from one country or another different color, you could exchange cultures. Like just say one's from Africa and one's from America, or one's from for mine it's like Jamaica, and you can exchange cultures, foods, topics to where your kids are eating different things, learning different things. That actually increases the intellect of a child. when he's learning different things, especially if you learn like different languages. Like just say, this person over here speak one language and this person over here speak another language. Your kids can learn multiple languages. Mm-hmm. That's a skill set by itself that actually can generate to a job for your kids when your kids have the ability to translate multiple languages. Mm-hmm. So that alone, when it comes to customs, food, traditions, it's so it actually gives your ability for your kids to be well rounded. So yeah, it like I said, for me, it's so beneficial. It's so beneficial. Some people might think it's not beneficial, but I feel like when it comes to the family as a whole, that this lifestyle actually benefits. Taking the fact that for some reason, I don't know why, we make it just a possessive sexual thing. But one thing me and you and another one of our brothers talked about back in the day, Joe, and even now, to be honest with you, a lot of marriages is not solidified or together or being brought together, don't have sex involved in it. One point, sex, like marriage, a lot of people get married and never have sex. It'll be like Brother Lane said, it's about the protection, the provision, the providing. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why a lot of older men that can't even have sex. They'll marry somebody and leave that person everything. You know what I'm saying? Because it was like they probably trust that person or been known that person for a long time. It was like, hey, I don't got no kids. I got family that I don't like and don't trust, but I trust you with everything. You know what I'm saying? When you marry me and take care of that person, and I will expect nothing from that person. Mm-hmm. So a lot of things when it comes to unions and marriage and togetherness, we gotta get out of the small mindedness of the flesh part and understand that there's more benefits outside of that realm that it holds.
Right. That's right. That's fact. And then when you look at Solomon, when he had all the wives he had, he wasn't having sex with all those women. As far as our discussion we had at the table, he wasn't having sex with all those women. He had those women, but those women, it was an act of sense of protection, for those women as well.
Right.
And some were concubines or whatever it may have been, but it wasn't all about him going to have sex with 700 and something women.
Correct.
He wasn't doing that. But in our mindset, when you hear women or wives that many, you think that he's having sex with all these women.
Correct.
Because that's your flesh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That wasn't the case.
Yeah, like even with Genghis Khan, man, like a lot of his wives was warriors, counsel, things of that nature. A lot of them had like skills. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? They had skills. That's what actually made him such a powerful ruler, was the fact his wives and his kids, you know what I'm saying, he had like, they all had occupations, had skills, had, you know what I'm saying, they were busy. They weren't just sitting around the house watching TV. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. And these were some very ambitious people. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing, like he only surrounded himself with ambitious people. Like even when it came to his kids, if he found a weak link in his kids, he cut them off. Yeah. So understand, like the union of a thing is to become better and become stronger. Yeah. We're going backwards, where it's like we're having unstructured families to where you have the baby mama era, to where we're going completely backwards versus what made rulers and people in prestige areas powerful, strong families, the dynasties. Right. We don't have that no more. Right. That I don't think we ever will probably have that again, because especially in America, society is going backwards. I mean, we are now in times where we allow same-sex marriages, but why are we struggling on this? On this. That's right. Why are we struggling on this? Yeah. We're multiplying this way. Yeah, that's right. But we're struggling.
But it's those pagan people.
Right.
It's their rules, man. They into that fact. Punk stuff, whatever. I didn't say that word, but
And you being honest, we gonna be honest here. Be honest with yourself. Say it, you know. We gonna be honest. We gonna be honest here.
I said flag.
We gonna be honest here.
But when it comes to the sexual part of it, even in polygamy, you know, you have to be mindful how you do that. You don't go lay with one woman one day and then you go right back and lay with a woman the next day.
Right.
You don't do things like that.
Right.
Because you have to look at the sensitivity of those women.
Correct.
You know, with their bodies and things like that.
Correct.
With their pH system or whatever.
That's correct.
That thing, you
That's
know,
correct.
how that works. And you have to be mindful of that.
Correct.
You know, as a man, even if you're doing polygamy, you still have to do it the correct way and be structural in how you do that. You need to wait periods before you go and engage in that manner.
Right.
But if you're somebody that's just undisciplined, you know, again, you know, you're just all across the board, you know what I mean? And not really caring about your people, you know. So that's something to think about as well.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Agree. But yeah, it's like I said, people, even before it became America, I mean, even the natives, they practiced this. It was actually this before we'll call it Caucasians, before they came, you know what I'm saying, and changed the nature of what it was here on this land.
Yeah.
It was never that on this land.
Yeah.
So even with that being said, like it changed completely.
Yeah. We just do anything, man. We take on anything. You know, and this thing, they've been doing this for years.
Right.
You know, even the days of Rome, Alexander the Great, when they come in and not only did they defeat you, they taught you their customs. They bred with your women. They wanted to flush you out. What holiday coming up? Valentine's Day coming up. This is a time where Europeans would wrap themselves up in animals' clothing or skins and go and have gay sex and do things like that. Yeah. This is what they did. Yeah. But yet we take it and we take it wholehearted and we just do what we want to do with it. We always take stuff with zeal and get all out of bounds. Take it on their customs, man. We got to stop this. We take it on. Yeah, we forget all about our customs. Whether you want to do it monogamy or whether you want to do it polygamy, we got to know that the Most High didn't say no to polygamy. Of course, he didn't say no to monogamy. But there is a way that you have to go about doing these things. Correct. And when you're doing them correctly, it ain't no such thing as called cheating because your partners know what's going on. Correct.
I agree. Like I said, for me, I mean, I pretty much cover everything I want to cover. Mm-hmm. Like I said, if you got questions or they got questions or do we even got time?
I don't
got time.
I'm done. I think I know some of them waiting to see what I thought as far as on polygamy and monogamy. Which do I prefer? What do I think about it?
Right.
Number one, I have no quarrel with anyone that's in monogamy. I have no quarrel that's in monogamy. I have no quarrel with anyone that's in polygamy. As long as you're doing it right, either side, my thumbs are up to both sides. You know, and if the Most High didn't destroy people for polygamy, I don't think he's destroying people, you know, for that right now today. He allowed it. You know, he allowed it. We always say we worship the same God yesterday. He's still the same today. Right. Then he hasn't changed. Then this is what it is. Yeah. But it's about how you go about and how you do things correctly. Correct. And that's just it. You know. Right. And I think that if you do things right, it will be respected. Agreed. You know. And I'll pretty much leave it there, bro. Yeah, for me, I'm gonna say this: you can live wherever you want to live, but don't lie and say you live like this and it's apparently not. You know what I'm saying? Like let's just understand that. Let's understand that. If you say you want to be monogamous, your resume better say that. I better look at your resume, and I better see exactly what a monogamous person requirements or prereqs should be.
If you don't meet those prereqs of what that is, no matter what you say, you're not living that. You're not living the truth of who you are.
Right.
I mean, that's just the facts. I don't want to sugarcoat it. We go be honest about this. If you do not have a monogamous structured lifestyle, don't say you want it or you desire it, because you can't have it, because you're not going to have it. It's not. It's because everything's already set in stone of how your life is already designed. If you depict and if you made decisions and you structure your life a certain way, then that's what it is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's what it is.
That's it.
Honestly, this is what you need to say. You need to tell the person, hey, I want this, but I'm actually that. But I'm willing to hope that you will just believe what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Right. Just say, you know what I'm saying? Just hope that you can believe what I'm saying. Because I'm not really living what I'm saying I want. But I want you still to accept it. Right. You know what I'm saying?
We had one more person here that made a comment on here. Tosh, she put on here, why did Noah and his sons only take one wife on the ark? Why did the Most High say the two shall become one, not three or four become one? Did the Most High ever tell man to have more than one wife in the Bible? And she said, peace. I'm going to say this to you, Sister Tosh. At the end of the day, I know for sure what he said. As far as those individuals having one wife, they did have that. But again, Solomon and others had multiple wives as well. I know you know that. And yet still the Most High gave them choice. He honored them in whichever way he wanted. I will say that when you're doing polygamy, for anybody, first of all, as far as a Hebrew, we need to understand the importance of knowing that we all need to believe the same. We all need to believe the same, because there was warning for those who went outside of that, wives or whatever that believe differently, because you can be lured from the faith yourself. I don't see him, again, destroying these men for having the multiple wives, concubines. But again, this is not a matter, again, we need to understand in context, this is not a matter of these men just going around sleeping with these women. There was a purpose for it. I have a book, I believe, somewhere regarding that, and they had a good breakdown of it. Now, again, there's nothing wrong with having one wife. There's nothing wrong with that. Totally supportive of it. And I'll say, if one wife is what you can handle, that's what you need. If you don't need a wife, that to me is an opportunity for an individual to focus more on the Most High, and that way, they're still in order. But to end it, to sum it, there's no condemnation for individuals who may have more than one. There's no condemnation, of course, for one who may just have one. That's a blessing as well. I'm not the author to give a go or yay on that. I consider it a bless, as long as those individuals are in the Most High and they're following those laws, statutes, commandments. And I'll leave it right there, sister. Thank you for your comment.
I want to add this. I love this woman right here to death, right? But that woman can't have kids. But I want kids. But I love this woman. Should I throw her away?
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? But I love her. Why would I throw this woman away if I truly love her? And she truly loves me? You see what I'm saying? So if I love her, I'm going to still marry her because I love this woman. I want to protect her. Because at the end of the day, I'm a man. Every other man gonna think the same way I'm thinking at that moment. They're just gonna use her up because she can't have kids. That's just being real. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna put her to go through that trauma when I know I care about that woman and I can shield her away from that danger. But I still want kids. So what I'm gonna do is I'm also find another lady that I also can love, and it's organic. I'm just not gonna force myself to find somebody and get her pregnant. But somebody else that I can organically care about, that I will want to marry as well, and she have my kids. that has at that moment, that has really nothing to do with the lifestyles of what we're picking and who in favor. As a man, that is my nature. Is to protect and is to multiply. That is my nature.
Mhm.
We gotta understand, if I don't use this, I have a high chance of even getting prostate cancer. Like, I am naturally built to use it.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So we gotta understand these things in a not just a biblical, but we just gotta really use like the common knowledge of what we know. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing what I love about me and my brother. He's great on the biblical. He got it down pat. But I break it down to D plus standards. You know what I'm saying? I will break it down to you at D plus standards. Understand at the end of the day, I can have a kid 365 days in a year. I can have a kid today, tomorrow, next week, anytime of the week. Women can't do that. You have a kid, you gotta wait a while. You know what I'm saying? You gotta wait a while. You know what I'm saying? So we got to understand, just like we've talked in episode 1 through now, we gotta accept nature. We gotta accept nature. We gotta stop trying. We try to overcomplicate things. Don't get me wrong. God blessed us with a brain. He blessed us with the most complex brain of all the creatures He made. But that's what that was a gift and a curse at the same time, because we make stuff so complicated. When animals have made it so simple, you know what I'm saying? We have overcomplicated all of this to where we got the word co-parenting now. You know, and that's all I gotta say.
Okay.
You know?
All right. Again, we thank you all for joining. We went a little longer than what we desired.
Yeah, we did.
And thank you all for commenting. As we go through, we'll look at some of those comments later. And again, feel free to always comment. And we do it respectfully. We love to be able to have those chats throughout the days to come. And you all are welcome to do just that. I think again, the Most High is going to continue to bless the show. Again, we're here about building the community. We're here to build, not tear down. You're dealing with individuals that we understand, you know, from a respective standpoint, how to do that. And I hope that you all get something out of this, and we want and desire more of our men to be in on these conversations as well, because we know the importance of men getting in line. But we know a vital piece as well is that the women be a part of what's going on here as well. So we thank you all for the comments. And this is the end of season 1.
Well, yeah. We made it.
Yeah, we made it through. We're going to take a little short break, but we're going to be back on it soon. And our host here, he'll pretty much direct me on what need to be done. And we're going to continue to teach on multiple topics. And again, this is only part 1 on this topic. And we'll bring in a part 2 whenever he instructs that to be done. We thank you all again. Peace.
Peace. Yeah. Now I gotta go to Lowe's.